Commissioner Palacio, Precinct 4, Commissioner Flores, and Palacio, Precinct 2. We do have a quorum. Approval of the consent agenda.
Well, we had nobody sign up for the open forum, Commissioner. So.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Next item.
We have the check register for approval.
Move for approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
There are no concerns?
No.
There's a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Godfrey.
Thank you, sir. Item 4A, we're requesting no action. We're still clearing up an issue on an interlocal agreement. Moving on to item 4B, request approval to participate with the Texas Natural Resource Information System Program for high imagery data sets through the district's membership with Council of Competitive Government, CCG, GIS 2008-001. Legal counsel has reviewed and approved the contract with Tinrich on it. Our cost on it is $5,902.83.
Is there any concern? No? Nada? Move for approval?
Second.
There's a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 5A, acceptance and approval of deed without warranty for parcels 1 through 13 out of lots 18 through 30 inclusive. Block 1, Rio Grande Security Subdivision Number 1, approval of closing statement and authority to execute related documents. This is a donation deed. Legal department has already cleared this item. It's for J09, Commissioner.
Move for approval?
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 5B, authority to issue manual check to Valley Land Title Company for closing costs in reference to the deed without warranty in the amount of $3,263.19.
Move for approval?
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 6A, request approval to accept a check from Texas Municipal League in the amount of $103,749.58 for fire damage on heavy equipment dozer claim number 12001927764.
For approval?
Second.
What happened here? That's one of those you caught on fire.
One of our Caterpillars was vandalized over in the southern part of FAR. They basically burned the whole cabin, electrical and everything else, and they had to remove it and put a new one on there.
All right.
There's a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item B, request approval of budget amendment to the general fund on the above referenced item for the repairs of the heavy equipment.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We have no item under closed session unless the board wishes to entertain one.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much, Commissioners.
Just one.
It's time.
9:40.
Okay, we'll open our regular meeting scheduled for December the 11th. We do have a quorum. Joseph Palacio, Precinct 4, Flores, Precinct 3, Palacio, Precinct 2. Join me. Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Balde.
Almighty God, we come together today for the good of the citizens of Hidalgo County. Give us your wisdom as we make decisions that will affect them today and in the years to come. Help us to work well together, recognizing that each of us are here because we want what is best for Hidalgo County. We ask for your blessings and your guidance. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Next item, the consent agenda. Any concern?
Commissioner, I would like to ask that consent agenda items 2G and 10D be pulled for discussion.
Do I have a motion to the effect?
Move for approval?
Second.
There's a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Consent agenda item 2G, we recommend no action. This is a duplicate item. There's no action needed for that, for 2G. Item 10D, a point of information, the percentage of the project within the city limits must be, we're going to need it in order for us to process payment.
Mr. Raul Silguero will be responding to that concern.
Commissioners, I think we can take action on that. The project was amended, it was increased, and all we need to do is determine the change in the percentage of the project that's in the city and out of the city so that we can split the invoice between the aid to other government and the county. So if we can approve it subject to that, we'll get the right percentage and submit the information to the auditor.
Move for approval, subject to that, what you just talked about.
Second. Thank you.
There's a motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, Raul.
Thank you. We have the
Judge, I'm sorry.
open forum.
Yes, sir. Commissioners, we do have open forum. We have 9 individuals signed up for open forum. The first one is Mr. Daniel Diaz, and the topic is Lupe.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
My name is Daniel Diaz, community organizer with Lupe, La Unión del Pueblo Entero, and also part of the Equal Waste Network. We have several folks here from the network. As the New Year is nearing, we hope to continue to work together and strengthen ties between county officials, county elected officials, and the residents of this county. As a community-based organization, we value each person in our community and help guide people into making important decisions that will impact their lives and their communities. It is clear knowledge that Colonia resident participation and involvement can create improving change, not only for them, but for the entire county. We organize strongly in colonias in all 4 precincts, and in all 4 precincts, people lack basic living condition services such as public light, drainage, housing, good housing, public parks, and accessible public transportation. And all these just sound something very similar because that's something that we always talk about. And although some of these issues become very challenging to solve because budget restraints or many other obstacles that we're faced with sometimes, I think it's important to know that it is in the power of all of us to begin changing and improving the harsh conditions in the colonias. That includes participation from county government, the leadership from county government, Colonia leadership, and also especially Colonia residents that live in those communities. There has been specific progress on issues such as public light and drainage, but the majority of the work to accomplish is still yet to come. There's been good progress, but hundreds of colonias still lack public light, right? And such conditions invite preventable dangers to these neighborhoods. On the issue of drainage, the drainage bond that passed in the election and the disaster recovery money allocated to low-income communities are good accomplishments, but still hundreds of colonias lack good drainage or a drainage system of any kind. So these are a few of the harsh realities in our colonias, facts that many of us are very aware of. But in this upcoming year, I invite everybody, our county commissioners and everybody involved in this process to invite new inventive ideas into solving some of the biggest obstacles. So I know that New Year's coming up, Christmas is coming up, and there's always a sense of hope that the New Year is coming up. And with this hope in people's minds, I'm confident it will translate into a high wave of momentum for this new year. And I want to thank you all for this space. It's always good to have this opportunity to speak to the commissioners and the judges not here today. And happy early Merry Christmas and New Year. Thank you. Yep.
Thank you. Valde.
Thank you. Our next presenter is Mr. Juan Garcia, and the topic are permits.
Good morning, my name is Juan Garcia. I live on 1620 North Canyon Road. I'm a full-time college student, and the reason I'm here is because I bought an acre that is family partition off an old couple, trying to help them out economically, not intending to build a house or anything, but due to my circumstances, I don't have anywhere to live but that acre that I bought, and I tried to get my permits for water and light, and I was denied due to the fact that my lot was not legally subdivided and was not requirements to the county's laws. In other words, So what I'm asking is for some help. I do help out my community. I have more than 542 documented community service, and I am asking for some help, at least a little push here and there to try to get my water and light, because I have a house out there that's where I live so far, without water and light. Thank you.
Thank you. Walter?
Our next presenter is Mr. Frank Traver, and the topic is rail meeting agenda.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thanks again for letting me speak. I'll try to make it quite brief this morning. I want to announce that the Commuter Rail District Board of Directors is having a meeting this afternoon for the first time since July this year. There is an open forum at the beginning of the meeting, and you people have heard me speaking about what I think is a fiscal foolishness and foolhardiness of trying to get rail down here. If you want to hear the discussion, if we have any at all, it's an open meeting, and you're certainly welcome to be there. I like to bring facts. Brief quote this morning. This is Jeff Judson in San Antonio Express expressing his opinion, stating in San Antonio, local politicians have decided to spend $100 million in local funds to build the first leg of a rail system, committing us to decades of fiscal insanity. Just illustrating a point, once you get into these things, you can't get out of it once you start building money. A lot of consulting studies. In the email which was sent to all of us on the board announcing the meeting, it was also included a statement that in addition to the agenda, there was a packet of reporting instructions for the new Section 5309 New Starts criteria. That's another consulting study on the way to asking for grants. Now, there's an old story that goes around in planners, particularly rail planners, that if cities and counties aren't careful, you're going to be planning rail systems to take people who aren't even there to places they don't even want to go. Now this is recognized as an old hat story, but I'm concerned now with the conditions of the federal government and the fiscal cliff we're approaching. There certainly is going to be some drastic cuts next year, one way or another. And I'm really concerned that we might be paraphrasing this and become a laughing stock. We could be applying for federal money that isn't even there to do things we don't even want to do. Thank you, gentlemen. That's it.
Thank you. Next, Walter.
Our next presenter is Amparo Martinez. Curry Estates is the topic.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Amparo Martínez y vengo representando mi colonia, la Curry Estate. Más que nada venimos de parte de toda mi colonia para darle las gracias al comisionado José Palacios, que se ha tomado el tiempo para tomarnos en cuenta en nuestra colonia, ya que ya le hemos comentado que tenemos problemas y se ha tomado el tiempo para ir a tomarnos en cuenta en nuestra colonia, y de toda la colonia le decimos muchas gracias, y que así como usted quisiéramos que todos los comisionados tomaran en cuenta sus colonias, así como usted lo ha hecho. Muchas gracias.
I'll just make a quick translation for everybody. Her name is Amparo Martinez. Martinez, right? Yes, Amparo Martinez from Colonia Curry Estates in the San Carlos area, and she wants to firsthand, appreciate and thank the work of José Palacios, Commissioner José Palacios, where he's taking an active role in meeting with Colonia residents. Just I had mentioned in my public comment, taking that step into involving a lot of the Colonia residents into the decision-making process and really listening them out, and she wants to thank him for that. I know that Colonia has some issues on drainage, some issues on public light, so she wants to thank Commissioner José Palacios.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Commissioner, our next presenter is Ms. Ramona Casas. The topic is Arise.
Good morning. I'm Ramona Casas from Arise. It's a community organization working in the colonias for 25 years. And this morning we have a very special moment we really wanted to say thank you to Mr. Palacios, Commissioner Precinct 2. He's been working with us for already maybe 14 years or more, working in the colonias and listening the needs of the families. In the name of the Comité Voces del Pueblo, you know the committee very well, Commissioner. We wanted to say thank you in the names of the community voice and also in the name of the RISE, because you've been working with us. Together, we made a lot of successful, like the Parque Comunitario, the Centro Comunitario, the drainage, the pavimento on the streets, and also right now, last week, we had a meeting with the community, and we are so grateful because before Christmas or before New Year, we have plans to have the 33 lights in the corners of the street, public lights. And we wanted to say thank you so much because you listen to the community and you're working hard with us. And I know we're working very close to Joseph Palacios also, and we already celebrate with the community with him. And we appreciate Joseph Palacios, Commissioner, to continue working with us. But this morning, Comité Voces del Pueblo and Arise, we wanted to give in this award to Mr. Comisionado Tito Palacios for working hard and made us possible to bring lights in our lives in the community. You wanted to come and we wanted to put
También dice ahí que es gonna retire y que... Hola. Que se baje para allá. We're going to be back here, Tito. You're the main one right there. You want to Tito to take a picture? Can you read that for the record?
Commissioner, our next presenter is Mr. Ramiro Treviño, and the topic is San Juan Precinct 2 concern.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Commissioners, Senior Administration, ladies and gentlemen. Being from Precinct 2, we have changes taking place in January. One of those is Constable's Office. Having said that, it has been brought to my attention by employees and their families of the Constable's Office that they're severely concerned that they may lose their jobs. Having been brought those concerns, my first response to that, this can't be. Knowing that elected officials, when taking office, are given some authority on making change. So I did some research. The first thing I found out is that Precinct 2 Constable's Office falls under civil service. And even though new constable-elect is given some authority to change its to change its over-chief deputy and administrative secretary. I find myself at disbelief that Constable-elect and County Commission would allow an action as such. The reason I am before you, let's not lose sight of these positions are these employees' livelihood. Through their employment, they raise their families, pay their bills, pay their taxes, pay their mortgages, and exist. So, gentlemen, my request, please take time to address this with Constable-elect and not lose sight of doing what's responsible. Employees' livelihood fall in your hands. And if these allegations are wrong, well, good. We applaud you and Constable-elect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner, our next presenter is Ms. Opal Billman. And the topic is court-appointed beneficiary.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Opal Billman. My complaint is about a petition for divorce in which the court did nothing, yet refuses to end their control of our property. When Joe petitioned the court for divorce, he legally owned an undivided 1/2 of 72 acres of land with capital improvements. He still does. There was no action by the court to give a fair split of our private property between the two owners and return our property to us. Our community property was kept as is by the court while a cooperation for it was organized. Joe sold none of his land. I sold none of my land. The land was not included in any settlement. Any corporation claiming to own the private property of Joe and me is committing a felony. They must disclose that it is the community property of Opal and Joe Billman. In a divorce action, the judge's only job was to divide our community property fairly between the two of us and give it back. The judge had no authority in a divorce action to appoint a manager and a beneficiary, and using bogus deeds allowed the community property to be placed into a shell corporation and holding company. Our community property is not an asset of any corporation. Owners of our community property remain Opal and Joe Billman. When Joe died, the 275th District Court refused to dismiss the case, therefore enabling the probate court to defer all of our community property to the 275th District Court's beneficiary, and by doing so, rob Joe's heirs of their inheritance and me of my community property. These actions are not in compliance with law. When I say to people, Joe still owns his land, some people can get quite annoyed with me with remarks such as, Opal, Joe died. Yes, Joe died. His legal ownership of the land he owns did not. When people think that Joe cannot own his land because he died, it is they who are not getting it. Because Joe died, property he owns becomes the estate of Joe Billman. Texas state law passes the estate of Joe Billman to his 3 kids. Joe still owns the land. His 3 kids own the estate of Joe Billman. There is one owner for Joe's land, Joe. There are 3 owners for the estate of Joe Billman, his 3 kids. That's Texas law. The 275th District Court and the probate court do not want to give the rightful heirs their inheritance from their father. Joe owns his land until it is passed by Texas law to his 3 kids. There is no law that passes everything Joe Billman worked a lifetime for to a court-appointed beneficiary that he didn't even know. The court-appointed beneficiary's audacity is unbelievable. What makes him believe he is entitled to all of the work Joe and I did in our lifetime for free? Does he really think he won the lottery? Get this man out of mine and Joe's divorce settlement. Get him out of a divorce settlement of the community property belonging to Opal and Joe Billman. My father, who owned land, died in 1946. The land belonged to my father for 50 years after he died. His siblings and I own the estate of U.B. Matheny for 50 years after he died. He died in 1946. In 1996, my siblings and I divided our father's estate equally among the five of us. For 50 years, my father owned his land. I'd like just to finish. I have two phases here, and I know that at other times you've allowed people to finish. I'd just like to finish. And I have appeared here now for quite some time, and most of the time I take 3 minutes. I timed this at home myself. I could do it in 4 minutes. If I'm taking longer than that this morning, it's just other things. But I would like to finish. My siblings and I divided our father's estate equally among the five of us. For 50 years, my father owned his land, and his children owned his estate. Under Texas law, Joe owns his land. His 3 kids own his estate. Unless the Secretary of State wants to claim that the Billman Real Estate LTD owns the community property of Opal and Joe Billman, this case was over April 24th, 2003. This case was never about a divorce. It's about 72 acres of land with capital improvements. Both the 5th and the 14th Amendments to the Constitution forbid the actions by the courts. Is the Constitution still the foundation of law of our country, or is that just a notion of some of the people? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Commissioner, our final presenter is Ms. Lydia Jeffries. And the topic is home issue.
Ms. Jeffries.
She's coming, Commissioner.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm sorry. I'm afraid my case is similar of Ms. Williams or whatever it is. This time, I want to talk about my property too. I have research on my case since 4 decades. So I want to ask you if you want for me to make copies and give it to you. There is this copy, I sent it to the Mr. Hope, I mean Mrs. Hope, the I forgot the name, Mrs. Hope, the Secretary of State. In this information says that you can have this information or send it to her, and I decide to send it to her. And I'm asking you if you want me to send it to you, because I'm afraid you have in the first information that this, I'm going to say this forum has held my property case. And this is the information I gathered from the library. You want me to get copies and send it to the court, commissioners? Thank you very much.
Mrs. Chapa, can you take it from her, please? ¿Verdad?
Yeah.
I'm going to get,
You're going to make copies of that first?
well, if you want me to take copies.
Okay, we'll get copies.
Is a fax that I sent to them.
The Secretary of State Andrade. Okay, we'll make copies of that.
Thank you.
Commissioners, we'll go ahead and make copies and provide each of the members of the court with copies of what she's provided. Thank you.
Thank you, Chip. Next item.
Commissioner, that concludes our participants under the open forum this morning.
Item 6, County Judge's Office.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jaime Longoria with the County Judge's Office. We'd like to respectfully request no action on this item. It's a duplicate item. The Right-of-Way Department had already submitted this and in a very efficient manner has already provided that report previously. Thank you so much. So there's no action.
Good. About that.
Yes.
Did we leave somebody out on the public forum?
No, they're waiting for an item on the agenda.
We had signed up, so even though there was no action, we had some questions on it. Mine is, isn't it true you tax us? Isn't it true you raise the property values? Isn't it true that you raise the tax rate amounts? If this does not work, then you use eminent domain. What else do we have to, what else do y'all want? So that's why when we see eminent domain, we go, dear God, that's the last thing that you can take our property for. So that was our question, was why are you doing this, especially at this time or whatever? Like I say, you're getting the tax money, and then you take us to tax court or whatever, and then eminent domain is the last way you can take our property.
Commissioner, just to clarify, this particular item had to do with a report. Senate Bill 18 in the last, I think in the 82nd legislature, required that any entity that claimed to have authority under eminent domain would provide a report to the legislature. Back in October, the Right-of-Way Department submitted this report. All it is stating the statutes under which we claim that particular authority. The report has already been submitted and it has gone to Austin. Thank you so much.
Let's bring up item 15.
15.
Joe Pena.
Mr. Pena. Item 15 is under the Right-of-Way Department, and if I may, Commissioner. It's the same one. Consideration of use of eminent domain to condemn property on the following parcels, 9 and 13, for the Trenton Drain Project, which is a GLO TDRA Disaster Recovery Entitlement Grant Program. There is a contract number, DRS 010068, and there's also a description of such parcels attached as Exhibit A and B.
I move that Hidalgo County authorize the use of the power of eminent domain to acquire parcels number 9 and 13 for the Trenton Drain Project GLO TDRA Disaster Recovery Entitlement Grant Program, contract number DRS 010068, as more particularly described in the attached exhibits A and B in the agenda packet, and the record vote shall apply to all parcels identified in this motion to be condemned, and the minutes of Hidalgo County shall reflect that the record vote on this motion shall apply to all parcels.
Second.
There's a motion, a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Commissioner, we need a record vote.
Aye.
Joseph, precinct 4.
Joseph Palacios.
Say
Aye.
Joe Flores, aye.
Palacio, Precinct 2, aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion carries unanimously.
Commissioner, if I may, under item 7, there's no action under item 7A1 and 2 unless there's action to be taken further along the agenda. I have nothing to report this week under item 7B. Item 7C, I'm asking the court to accept a settlement check from State Farm Insurance Company in the amount of $781.58, and this will be to settle an auto accident claim with one of our county vehicles.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Judge, Commissioners, I have on the agenda discussion, consideration, and action on rescheduling the County Commissioners Court meeting of Tuesday, December 25th to Friday, December 28th, or otherwise specified if the court so deems that the 28th would not work with the schedule. Again, every year we run into this issue where the holidays come into play, and so in this particular year, December 25th will fall on a Tuesday, which is our regularly scheduled Commissioners Court. We give individuals, so I'm asking that the court schedule that week's meeting to the end of the week, and that'll give staff some time to work on any agenda items and work out whatever we can work out with the auditor's office.
Which will be on the 28th?
On the 28th. That would be on a Friday.
Move for approval.
Second.
Just to inform the court, I will not be available that week. So.
You gotta go play Santa Claus. You're going to be on your way back to the North Pole?
No, it's personal, but I'll mention it. If you're concerned, it is going to be, we're going to be celebrating our anniversary, wedding anniversary. So, if it's the North Pole anymore.
Well, then what about the meeting the following week? Because the second, I mean, the first is a Tuesday also.
Right, and so, well, we were going to disclose that at the last meeting, but our next scheduled meeting for the new year, we would be recommending for it to be January 8th. Given that this is a Friday meeting, there would be a holiday the next 2 days.
What about the hiring of those employees? I mean,
No, that'll be on the 28th,
yeah.
Commissioner, of this year. There would not be enough time to put together a quality agenda. And so the next scheduled meeting, because we run into this every year, Mr. Fresco, so we would have it on the 7th. Yes, on the 8th,
okay.
January.
Thank you.
So, Commissioner, we do have a motion and a second.
Motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. Item E, I'm requesting approval to reimburse Mr. Cecin, Raul Cecin, our Planning Director, $853.81, and this is for expenses that were incurred in his as administrator for the county, attending the basic floodplain hydraulics using HEC RAS training that was held in Fort Worth. Obviously, this would be done with the authority of the county director to issue a check after auditing procedures have been completed by our county auditor's office.
For approval.
Second.
There's a motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Item F, Commissioners, I'm asking for the advertisement of a position at Facilities Management. One of our individuals has retired, and so I'm asking for the advertisement of a Budget Clerk 1, obviously knowing that after all the procedures are completed with Mr. Cortez's office, we won't be looking at it till the first of the year, but we'd like to get the paperwork started.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item G, I'm asking for the same action, again, understanding that once all our procedures are adhered to, we won't be looking at it till the first of the year, but we'd like to get the paperwork started.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And Commissioner, just for the record, it was for the Health and Human Services Department, and it was 3 positions. Item H, with the new year approaching and our modulars well under schedule to be completed and be occupied, item H is appointment of judge to the office of County Court at Law number 8.
Okay, I would like to recommend Judge Rolando Cantu for Court 8.
I'm going to second it with a comment. He's done, since his appointment, he's done an impeccable job moving cases. He's been one of the most active appointments I've ever seen. I'm going to second it. Obviously, he's already hitting the ground running, so it makes perfect sense.
January 1st?
Yeah. Another thing, I had a call from Judge Ramon Garcia last night and told me that he was for it 150%.
There's a motion, a second, with the judge telling Commissioner Flores he was behind it 150%.
Yeah, the other 50 is for you.
Mrs. Chapa, we have Mrs. Chapa at the podium.
Commissioner, the effective date will be?
January 1st.
As Commissioner Flores said, Judge Ramon Garcia could not be here today, but he does go over the agendas. We go over them with him. He wanted to be able to state, as Commissioner Flores has already stated, that he supports this, as he said, 150%. He feels that he has done a tremendous job while he has been in office and wants to show his support.
Just for
Thank
the
you.
record, I support the motion 151%.
At least you were 49.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioner. That's all I have for item 7, under my item. I know that item 8 is for the District Attorney's Office. Sergio, you'll be presenting that?
Vote? No, not for that.
Sergio, the county coroner number 8 is fully funded for next year?
Yes,
For
sir.
next year, yes, sir.
For next year, yes.
We will have to come back and create the positions for the court coordinator, court reporter, and assistant court coordinator and bailiff. However, we do have the funding allocated. The positions are there, we just need to set the salaries. Correction. Item 8.8, Mr. Casa has asked me to present this item on his behalf. Is approval to transfer auto allowance and the amount of $3,600 from slot number 0100, Criminal Investigator 2, to slot 0087, Criminal Investigator 1, with approval of the revised salary schedule.
Second.
There's a motion second for approval on item 1 and 2. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Good morning, Commissioners. Lieutenant Rafael Garza for the Yolo County Sheriff's Office.
Yes, Commissioner, he's here for item 9.
Item 9, requesting approval of claim invoice number 02-SUPP-SO from DOS Logistics, Inc. in the amount of $3,000 with the authority for Hidalgo County Treasurer to issue payment after auditing procedures are completed by the county auditor. This is, go ahead.
Second.
There's a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Next item.
That's for the Health and Human Services. We do have Ms. Irene from Health and Human.
Good morning. We just have an update. Next week, we will be holding our final public hearing so that we can submit our RHP Region 5 plan. It will be up on the website on Monday. It will be posted for for the remainder of the year. Where we're at right now is we're on the final phase of the submission of the plan, which will be due by the end of the year. Our goal is to submit it before then, and then from there we have 30 days for the state to approve it and then forward it to the feds. So far we're on track with everything, and we're just giving you an update for next week. We will also be having a public hearing in Stark County on the 19th. Thank you.
Thank you.
So there's no action on 10A and B, right?
Commissioner, we do have the Fire Marshal's Office up, item 11. I believe that there will be a no action, but Mr. Martinez, if you could, please.
Good morning, Commissioners. Yes, I'd like to take no action on this item. Last night, the Lynn San Manuel Fire Department did call a special meeting and unanimously approved the bylaws. So we are looking forward to working with them, and that's why we want to take no action. I do believe we have Mrs. Chapa who would like to make a comment on behalf of the judge's office. So, Ms. Chapa.
On behalf of the judge, his statement, he reiterated this morning to Commissioner Palacios. He has been working very closely with him in reference to this issue, and he's very pleased and wants to make that statement that the safety for the fire department for that area will continue since we're not taking any action to dismiss the contract. Thank you.
Commissioners, I'd like to close on a few comments, and I want to give a special thanks to our Fire Marshal's office, who has worked diligently since the fire of last year. I know the anniversary date was yesterday, and in the matter of a year, although it seemed like a setback, it's an obvious. With the leadership that we had last week through the Fire Marshal's office and a specific individual, Dr. Hinojosa, who grabbed the bull by its horns and led that fire group to fully understand that what the county was asking for is merely simply what the law requires them to follow. They accepted the bylaws. It took a lot to set the emotions aside, obviously, but we're very pleased with their action yesterday. We look forward to working with them through the Fire Marshal. We're hoping that in the very near future we'll look at a future groundbreaking for a new fire station, of which it's direly needed in that area. But I do commend all those, especially the firefighters who have all hung in there and casted their vote yesterday for the greater good, and I appreciate that.
Mr. Martinez, in reference to dispatch logs, are you going to require the department to submit the logs or the NFRs?
For Linsa Manuel?
Linsa Manuel.
Linsa Manuel will probably be dispatch logs, yes. Since
Okay.
they run off of an answering service, that's what we were doing prior to, was getting their dispatch logs through the phone service. I'm also working on the rest of the departments as well.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner, if I may, under item 12 for the HIDA Task Force for Ms. Dora Munoz, I'll present its authorization approval on one of their memorandums of understanding between Hidalgo County HIDA Task Force and the Hidalgo County Constable's Office Precinct 3. That's one of the two action items.
Move approval.
Second. There's a motion second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion carries.
The second item would be the memorandum of understanding between Hidalgo County HIDA Task Force and the McAllen Independent School District Police Department.
Move for approval. Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Good morning, Commissioners. Based on the new development regarding the Linsa Manuel Volunteer Fire Department, we recommend no action on our item.
Thank you for all your assistance.
Thank you.
Commissioner, we have item
elections.
Elections Department, Ms. Yvonne Ramon. Commissioner, if you will allow me, can we just pass on this item for right now? Let me make a couple phone calls and contact someone from the Elections Department.
Some grants that are being awarded, no?
Right, but this has to do with the, and there's also, it has to do with the HAVA. So
Yeah.
I'd like for her to give an update on that HAVA fund. And we've taken action on item 15, so our next action would be item 16.
Bingo.
Is it time sensitive?
The
elections?
The elections.
If not, bring elections.
Sergio, were you in contact with Ms. Ramon's office with respect to these funds? I know that they've been certified because the proper language is on the agenda by the auditor's office, but are you familiar with?
I'm not very familiar with the status of the HAVA funds, sir. I
Okay.
know we did get the appropriate certification from the auditor's office. However, as far as the status as to when the HAVA funds will run out, I'm not too familiar with that.
Okay, I mean, these are grant awards. I mean, there are.
Why don't we just call their office and?
Okay.
And
If
come back to
Commissioner, let me find out if it's
Yeah.
time sensitive, Commissioner Quintanilla. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Item 16A, pursuant to contract with LNG Consulting Engineer, Inc., DBA LNG Engineering, Article 14, C-12-246-10-16, a request for approval by engineering to permit the subcontracting of Alma Tierra Environment, Inc. in connection to work authorization number 1.
Okay, what is that for, Mr. Vergara?
That's for the Liberty Road.
Where's that located?
That's located in Penitas, north of FM 1427, Commission.
All right, move for approval.
Second.
There's a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Mico.
Morning, Commissioner. Sergio Cruz, Department of Budget and Management. Item 17A is presentation discussion on specifications for the Rural Solid Waste Collection RFP, the sanitation program. We just wanted to give the court an update on this sanitation program and where we're at. We have developed an RFP for the franchising of these services. They are currently under legal review, and I know that there's revising some of the specifications on the insurance requirements. However, I did want to go over some of the other items that we have in the RFP to get discussion from the court, see if these are some of the specifications that the court wants or if they want to see some other options. Again, we're requesting a proposal from vendors to furnish all the materials for the collection of the solid waste, the equipment and the labor in order to be able to operate the collection program. This is under the authority of Texas Health and Safety Code 364.034, where a public agency or a county may offer solid waste disposal service, require the use of that service, and charge a fee for that service. The contract term, the initial contract term that we have will be a 4-year term, and we do have an option to renew for an additional year. Part of the requirements would be for the collection and transportation of the solid waste, to provide a 96-gallon container to the resident, to schedule weekly trash pickup, and also have monthly brush and bulky waste collections as well, and to also maintain adequate personnel and equipment.
What about breaking it down to different phases, different precincts or whatever?
Yeah, we do have that as well. We have 2 different options as far as how the RFP will be let out. The vendors can choose to bid on a per district basis or on a countywide basis, and then we will do an analysis and see which one would be more beneficial to the residents.
I think it'd be easier to break it down to different phases than have somebody
to do the whole thing.
To be able to have our local business people go ahead and compete on this, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of them that are local and wanted to bid on this.
We did break it down into 6 different districts of various sizes. They range from anywhere from 5,000 residents to 25,000 residents. The largest district that we're going to have as far as population would be District B, and then the smallest one would be District C, since it encompasses, that area encompasses more of the McAllen Mission area, so there's fewer rural households in that district. However, we do have, small-sized districts, medium-sized districts, and larger-sized districts that the vendors will be able to compete on. We did also include the option to do on a countywide basis to see if economies of scale would be able to maybe bring a lower cost to the residents. However, we do want to keep in mind that we do have the district option as well, so to allow more vendors and to have more increased competition amongst the providers.
So when you put up this RFP, you're going to allow the people providing the RFP to go bid on a countywide as well?
To bid on a countywide as well, or bid on a district basis, or they can have a bid on each of the districts as well.
This year, we're going to be able to tell whether we save more money or not for our constituents,
Correct. The allowable collections will be residential trash, plastic paper boxes, aluminum cans, food, clothing. We also, on the brush and bulky items, we have the grass clippings, the shrubs, the tree trimmings, the dead trees and branches. Also, washers, dryers, and stoves, air conditioners, water tanks that they'd be able to also pick up on a monthly basis. Some of the unallowable items that we have in here are the hazardous waste, medical waste, oxygen tanks. One of the items I think that we had discussed before was on the tires. We do have those as uncollectible items, so we would have to have a separate program, continue the tire collection program within the precincts, unless the court would want to include maybe 2 tires as allowable waste, or do we just keep them as unallowable?
It's going to be very hard when you mix them up with the trash to have somebody separate them.
Separate them at that?
Yes.
So we'll keep them in as unallowable, and we'll have to operate that type of system. We had looked at getting a mobile shredder to where we can shred the tires into smaller pieces and then maybe try to sell those out to recycling centers. So So that's something that we'll work on this next fiscal year to see if we can do some type of.
Within this RFP, Mr. Cruz, are you allowing the people to give us a price for the disposal of tires?
On this one, they would have to continue the current method, which would be to dispose the tires at one of the county facilities.
The reason I'm asking is because that way at least the county would know or would be able to compare a price, what it cost us compared to a private contractor picking them up, and where would we save money?
We have a contract with a company out of Laredo for that.
Correct.
Yes, we do.
We currently do have that type of contract.
I think we approved it here about 3-4 months ago.
Yes, we renewed it, I think, renewed that contract just not long ago.
Sergio, are you requesting type of action today?
No, not on this. Basically, I just wanted to advise the court of the RFP provisions that we have currently, in case there's anything the court would like to see change or any other options that the court would like to see before we bring the RFP for approval, hopefully within a week or two, as soon as legal has finished the review of that RFP.
For the tires?
On the franchise fee, we are requesting a 5.
For your information.
Yes, sir.
I think Senator Lucio and Senator Hinojosa have introduced or will be introducing some legislation that will allow a change in the process to allow Cameron County and Hidalgo County the ability for the county to collect the fees on this.
Through their taxes.
Yes.
I'm not that familiar with the.
I haven't seen the language in that bill. However, I believe there will be a representative from Senator Lucio's office come to the court and present a copy of that language and get support from the court. It will allow for the county to be able to bill for this collection services in their annual tax statement for the rural residents. Again, this bill would be heard sometime next year, if it does pass, would become effective September 1st. So we would be able to utilize that avenue of collection and make it now more of a mandatory system come fiscal year 2014.
Well, it may impact on some people's ability to participate in this.
Thus making it mandatory?
Thus, it would at that point make it mandatory, yes, sir. Again, as far as on the property tax collection rate, we do have anywhere between.
For the court's information, that's pending, it's out there, so.
Yes, sir.
Seek how that.
So depending on how it does next year, in next year's session, we'll be able to utilize that avenue if it does pass. We are requesting a 5% franchise fee to be paid quarterly to the county. I know another option had been to provide a 10% franchise fee to the county. So basically, that's one provision that we would be able to.
Is that 5% of the gross or the profits?
Of the gross. Of the gross collections.
Why would we not ask for 10%?
Basically, that franchise fee will be passed back down to the customer. So we were requesting a 5% franchise fee just to make it a little bit more affordable to the residents. Since this is something new for the residents, it's not something, although some rural residents currently have waste collection services being provided to them, a lot of them do utilize the county collection sites. So this would be something new to them just to make it a little bit more affordable. We did bring it down to 5%. If the court wishes, we could raise it back up to 10.
The only reason I'm asking is because this is a new revenue stream to the county to allow us to get rid of some of our debt.
Yeah, but this is not a tipping fee. Franchise, the state will charge these companies their franchise taxes anyways. Is it legal, Steve?
Basically it is, but I think the recent one, 5%, is if you charge 10%, it's going to be a higher cost to the ultimate consumer.
Because I know if you're a Texas corporation, you got to pay the state your
franchise fee. Yes, you would have to pay a franchise fee to the state for operating your business in the state of Texas. However, those fees go directly to the state. This would be a similar franchise fee that the county can actually charge, and these revenues would come directly to the county for general fund operations.
See, have you referenced the percentage, what the impact would be with an assumption?
When looking at the 5%, we were looking at a 50% participation rate because, again, since we don't have the option to include these fees in the tax statement currently, we're utilizing the same percentage that Cameron County is currently having. So we're projecting anywhere between $250,000 to $350,000 in franchise revenues. If we were to at the 5% rate
per quarter.
per year.
Per year.
See, but have you analyzed the impact per resident? Just an assumption.
So if it's going to be $250,000 per year, you're not talking about 5% of the gross. It's on the profits.
We'd be looking anywhere between $1 to $2 franchise fee per resident. Yeah. That's what we'll be looking at a 5 to 10% rate.
Per month?
Yes, per month.
And
correct.
going back to, if we ever decide to do our landfill, I mean, I think Mr. Quintanilla Roy looked at it last time, and I think City of Edinburgh was, I think, grossing more than $14–15 million a year. We've got those 1,200 acres up there.
Mm-hmm.
If we ever decide to do it and go out for RFQs again and let them dispose it into our landfill for a tipping fee.
Yes. What we could do, we could utilize some of these franchise fees to start
because
start
it's not going to be much. It's just
the
to get it
landfill
going.
to start the landfill process and getting that up and running, and then once it comes for renewal, we could also change the provisions within the RFP to require them to dispose of their.
But it's going to take 4, 5, 6 years to ever get that.
Yes.
Things ready over there.
So we would be able to, at that point, be able to now require that the vendors dispose of the solid waste at our landfill and pay us a tipping fee, thus creating even more revenue that way. But that, like you mentioned, that would be probably 4 to 5 years away. So we would be able to use this franchise fee to start getting the groundwork doing on our landfill.
And maybe somebody should talk to us and look at the city of McAllen, because they've got their own trash collections. I don't know if it's profitable or not. You know, city of McAllen's got their own trash truck,
yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, Steve?
Correct.
Do you know they're making any profit on that, Steve?
I don't know.
But the landfill has been identified as a revenue maker, correct?
Yeah.
So
It's
this is something, we should really consider moving on. The sooner you move on it, the sooner you bring these revenues and you alleviate the burden on the taxpayer.
Correct. So right now, we do have a 5% franchise fee to be paid quarterly. On the billing, as we mentioned, right now, we're going to require that the contractor provide their own billing services. They would bill the vendors, the constituents directly. So basically, the county would have no part in the billing process. We would require them to provide us quarterly reports of any new accounts that are being opened, any accounts that are being closed because of non-payment, and then also the volume of the trash that's being collected and disposed. One of the reasons why we want to get that information is we would then, at that point, know how much trash we would be, if we were to have our landfill, we'd be able to know how much we'd be able to get in tipping fees if we were to open it, and be able to have some type of numbers for revenue estimates in case we were to do some type of revenue bond to construct the county landfill at that point. So we are requesting this other information as far as on the volume of trash being.
When do you anticipate a decision by the court?
Right now, legal is currently reviewing the requirements for the insurance requirements for the vendors. As soon as we have that straightened out, we would be able to bring back to court the RFP for approval for advertisement of that RFP.
So you're thinking about putting it up by February?
We would hope to put it up before the end of the year.
Before the end of the year?
Yes.
What's going to happen to the people out in the rural areas, especially the businesses that they already got their containers, and with a certain company? Will that make it mandatory for them to go with this?
If they have a contract with an existing vendor, we would honor that contract for the term of that contract. However, once the contract ends, they would be required to change over to the franchisee.
Yeah, because we need to let our people out there know what's going to happen.
Yes.
See, because
a lot of them have them for years.
I noticed on this RFP that you're asking just for the 96-gallon container, correct?
Excuse me?
The 96-gallon container is what you're putting out.
Yes.
But you're not, I didn't see anywhere where you would be putting out the commercial side for 3 yards.
The statute doesn't allow us to do the commercial end of this, so basically the commercial part of this would still be an open market system. We're only allowed to provide it for the residential customers. So that's why we don't have the commercial side of it.
But yet,
We might want to
whoever-
look, maybe perhaps, including in that legislation, authority for the county to maybe franchise on the commercial side. However, currently, we don't have that authority.
But yet whoever is awarded that district or countywide, the business would have to contract with that individual.
Not
No?
the businesses, no.
Not the business?
Not the commercial, no. Only residential
You know,
households.
for example, me, I pay like $600 a month in my commercial stuff for disposal. But then I got a call from City of Alton, and I still have to have a little container for the City of Alton, even though I still carry, for them, because I'm part of the City of Alton.
Part of the city, yeah.
So that's what I mean. People out there, people who have commercial, are they still going to have, required to have a small one for their, just to be able to?
No, the
report
people
it?
that have the commercial would be able to keep their existing service and not have to contract with the county. Only the residential customers would have to contract with the county's franchisee. As far as customer service, we are requesting that they do the collections between the hours of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Friday, requesting that they have staff phone service from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, and also provide a toll-free number for the customers, and also post their holiday schedule. Also, any missed collections that are not collected on the day of the scheduled day of collection would have to be collected by 10 a.m. on the following day. And also, the contractor would have to make arrangements with individuals with disabilities to be able to provide a better service to those individuals. As far as on the scoring evaluation, we do have a 100-point scoring system. 25 points would be based on the cost to the residents. 25 points would be based on the experience with similar projects. 20 points would be based on their understanding of the project, and 20 points based on their current workload and ability to commence this project. And we did add 10 points for the thoroughness of the bid that's being submitted. We would have to designate an evaluations committee once we have the RFP ready for publishing, and that would be, at the designation of the Commissioner's Court. As far as on the termination clause, we have basically, again, it's a 4-year contract, and it would expire at the end of that 4 years unless we exercise our options to renew for that additional year. And also, we would be able to terminate that contract with 90 days written notice. If there's any other questions that the court might have.
So basically, you said you're looking at putting it out before the end of the year.
Yes,
Does that
sir.
mean, Mr. Crane, you're going to be ready for next meeting?
It's not me being ready, it's them getting their insurances.
The insurance requirements. We're still working we're still working on getting the correct specifications for the vehicle insurance that the vendors would have to require, and then we would have to submit that again to legal review.
Well,
There were some changes that we had to make.
Whenever you're ready.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
That's my presentation. If any other questions come up after today's, feel free to send me an email or give me a call, and we'll explore that as well. No action will be required on this item. Item 17B would be approval of the 2012 appropriation of funds for the Health Benefits Fund in the amount of $2,110,000. These are to fund the year-end expenditures.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Anybody call the election department?
Yes, we do have Elizabeth, Ms. Marty, if. Sure. We do have a representative from the Elections Department.
Good morning, I apologize. 14, authorization and approval to accept the following HAVA grant awards. A, HAVA Polling Place Accessibility 2012 in the amount of $49,871.96. And B, HAVA Opportunity for Access 2012 in the amount of $24,938.77.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
2, approval of certification of revenues as certified by the county auditor for the HAVA grants.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion and the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And 3, the approval of the 2012 appropriation of funds for the HAVA grants in the amount of $74,810.73.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion.
You said you wanted to elaborate on the
Right,
presentation.
Melanie, do you have an update with respect to the HAVA fund itself? Because this is an appropriation of 74,000 and change. Do you know what the total HAVA fund is right now?
That I don't know right now. I thought that was the total, the 74,000.
Well, no, this is the acceptance of the this grant award. I was just wondering what the total right now is in the HAVA fund itself.
Oh, that I don't
aware?
know, but I would need to get back with you on that.
Commissioner, I just apologize, I wanted an update, but we'll have something for you.
Well, maybe you should have asked them to bring it over when they.
Right, so I apologize for that, but we'll have it for next time. Thank you.
Marty?
Martha Salazar for the Purchasing Department. And an Aggie mom. Here we go. Items 18A1 to A, B, and C, nothing to report, or
Is it Johnny's mom?
I'm Marty Heisman. No, just. But how about those Aggies? Going on to item 3, acceptance and approval to amend the sole source declaration previously approved on October 4th, 2011. With Icon Enterprises, this is for the DBA Civic Plus, and this is for any future purchases. Under that designation, we'd like to clarify that it continue, that sole source. So I need action on that.
Would you approve? Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And B is approval to pay the annual support and maintenance hosting renewal fees in the amount of $14,175.
Move to approve.
As stated below.
Second.
Move and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And that does include also the execution of any agreements that are required by either court member or the county judge's office. 4 is acceptance and approval to substitute the current Exhibit B for contract number 226 between Hidalgo County and Paul Vasaldua Jr., DBA Vasaldua and Associates, with a revised Exhibit B, proposal fees for services with monthly work plans due to the delay in the full execution of the contract.
Is this on that grant we came to for one time?
Yes.
Move to
Move to
approve.
approve.
Yes.
Second.
There's a motion. Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item B, Precinct 4, requesting approval of a professional engineering services agreement with LNG Consulting Engineers, DBA LNG Engineering, for professional engineering service in connection with job-specific project FM 1017, as stated on the agenda.
Move to approve items A, B, and C.
There's a motion second to approve A, B, and C.
Correct.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item B, pursuant to Article 14 of the Professional Engineering
approve that
Services
part.
Agreement with
Right.
LNG.
Motion was for A, B, and C, or one A, B,
Yeah,
and C.
we approved A, B, and C.
A, B, and C.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're
Thank you very
related.
much. And that comment, that concern you had, Mr. Ofracio, had been addressed directly to your staff this morning, the approval of the review. Item C.
Mario, on BA1, A, was that the legal review done?
Yes, I was just telling you that. Ms. Letty already had it this morning, and I have a copy with me. Mr. Crane had sent it last night. Item C, this is for IT, action to amend the sole source declaration for the Elections Department with Environmental Systems Research Institute to include IT, and that's as the other one, to expand that sole source declaration
Move
to
to
include
approve.
new purchases.
A, B.
A, B.
We need to take those separately.
Separate. Okay, move to approve item A.
Second.
Item B is approval of.
There's a motion
Oh,
second.
sorry.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
B is approval for IT to purchase in the amount of $18,000 through requisition 227396, ARC GIS for desktop advanced concurrent use primary maintenance, ARC GIS for desktop advanced concurrent use secondary maintenance, and ARC GIS for
Move to
desktop
approve.
basic single services.
Move for approval.
Second.
There's a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item D for WIC, recommending bid award and approval of contract document to sole bidder Miguel Barbosa Jr. in meeting all specifications and/or requirements for the lease of office space in the city of Alton. There is a note that on the funding agreement, on the funding source for this, it would be 2012, certain amount, and then once they get their new funding in March, there would be a PO for the rest of it.
Second?
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Colonia Access Program, Precinct 3, acceptance and approval of the final construction contract number 208, awarded on October the 16th, 2012 for Dude Hill Subdivision between Hidalgo County and Valley Paving in the amount of $66,903.45 as submitted through project engineer Javier Hinojosa.
Move approval.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item B, pursuant to Texas Local Government Code 262031 and in the interest of expediting a project's progress, requesting authority approval from precinct commissioner or designee to execute change orders that involve an increase or decrease of cost of $50,000 or less, with original contract price cannot be decreased by 18% or more without the consent of the contractor.
Move for approval.
Second.
There's motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Has the designee been established, Marty?
Well, I was going to ask it on the second one so we'd know who he's designated.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you in open forum to designate your designee, to name your designee. Going on to item 2, A, acceptance and approval of final construction contract number 197 for Casa de los Vecinos Subdivision between Hidalgo County and Jimmy Klausner and Sons Construction for the amount of $392,013.75, submitted through the engineer Javier Hinojosa.
Move to approve.
Second?
There's motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And pursuant to the Texas Local Government Code 262, as the same in E1B, would be for the commissioner or a designee, if he'd like to name them at this time, to sign any change orders for less than $50,000, and knowing that the contractor must agree for anything decrease of more than 18%. So I don't know if it'll be just you signing them.
Can it be somebody from my precinct or can it be Agapito? Has to be somebody from
You can designate someone. You want Agapito?
Agapito. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. On both
He's the one under the Colonia.
1B and 2B.
Mr. Vargas?
The form of motion? Second.
Yeah.
Second.
There's motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Banda, do we have any?
Yes, sir, we do have executive session items.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Been moved second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll be in executive session for a few minutes.
Who? Me?
You. Hey Frank, how are you?
Well, the way the county's working, I drove by there.
That means you're doing well.
Nobody's been here.
Okay. Not today, but if you want to call me and go by the precinct, you can do that. Okay. All right, thanks. You're doing good. Yes, sir. We'll get together and talk.
That's probably when the hail damage hit. You can claim it
Yes, Joe.
Oh. I've got 2, 3 pending deals. Yeah?
Yeah.
Sure.
Thanks.
We're back in open session. Balde?
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm sorry. Commissioners, under open session, item 20A, there is no action. Real estate, item 20B, pending and or potential, no action. Item 20C, claim of Alma Di Patina. Commissioners, I'd like settlement authority to make an offer in the amount of $108.25.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 20D, claim of Mission Towing. Commissioners, I'd like settlement authority to make an offer in the amount of $358.25.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Commissioners, item 20E, Norma Hernandez, DBA CVS Services. Commissioners, I'd like to report and ask that the court take action on, as it pertains to Norma Hernandez, DBA CVS Services, a release and settlement agreement that we have come to with Ms. Hernandez. Included in the release and settlement agreement would be the promissory note as executed by Norma Hernandez, DBA CVS Services. The total amount of the release and settlement agreement with respect and the promissory note is $14,207.10. Along with that action, in working with legal, I ask that I also be authorized as executive officer for the county to sign the release and settlement agreement.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 20F, claim of Alberto Martinez. Commissioners, for the record, I'd like to state that we're going to turn this over to Ms. Josie Ramirez and her office. And our last agenda item, 20G, claim of Francisco J. Guerrero, DBA Valley Metro Security. Commissioners, I'd like settlement authority to make an offer in settlement of this claim in the amount of $17,468.29.
Valde, is this the item that's going to create the potential non-compliance with competitive bidding process?
Josie? Oh,
But
did Josie
this
leave?
one where he's supposed to pay $3,000, he didn't pay him?
Right, this is on the Valley Metro Security, yes, sir.
May I just make one comment? It may not be the 17, but it would be no more than.
Right.
It's going to be less, because there are some eligible invoices there.
But
that can be processed.
I can only go on the letter that on the total
yes.
that I received from the company.
I understand.
And so, Mr. Fracio, this is also, I have been working with Ms. Josie Ramirez on this, and this is her recommendation to me.
Right. I just want to state for the record that I might not be able to play if this is paid for this claim, if it's going to create a non-compliance with competitive bidding.
Okay, I will relay that to Ms. Josie Ramirez.
Thank you.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
To adjourn.
Second.
Move to adjourn. Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You late.
Commissioner, can you hang around for a minute?